It took more than 60 years, but this weekend, the streetcar is finally coming back to the Rampart streetcar line.
It opens to the public on Sunday and will run about 1.5 miles from Canal Street to Elysian Fields. But we're getting a sneak peek this morning from Mike and Sheba. All aboard.
A sneak peek, guys, and we are finally on the move here, which is so exciting. This is beautiful.
It is nice. This is where I go to the McDonald's.
This is how we get to McDonald's. Is that where this
now
is
I
headed?
can ride the
Because we
streetcar
got
to
on, but I
McDonald's.
don't really know where we're going.
We're headed towards Elysian Fields, North Rampart line. This is Justin Augustine. He's VP of Transdev. And wow, I know it was a lot of hard work, but you look at the Bywater, the Marigny, the Treme, and how it's exploded, and people that would use the service, the timing is almost perfect.
Absolutely. Mike, you know, one of the things that we focused on was to make sure we had neighborhood and residential participation, and of course the merchants along the corridor. They were our customer base, and it's important to understand that they were impacted. Although this project is hugely successful, it's going to be a more than better benefit than they ever had before in the past. So the most important thing is that we're bringing public transportation back down Rampart Avenue. A piece of history is coming back.
Yeah.
And then the residents and the merchants along this corridor will see the economic benefit of this respective project.
Which is really wonderful. You kind of touched on it there. A lot of people in our city use public transportation. How important is that access?
Access is critically important. Look, we carry 20 million passengers a year. And people go to school, they go to work, they go to doctor's office or what have you, and they depend on the RTA to get them where they need to be. And our slogan is, let's roll. So more importantly, every morning we get up, we do the things we have to do, and we roll 20 million people a year throughout the city of New Orleans.
Wow. What is the future as we look down the road? I know there was talk of heading back down to the river.
Yes.
If you were to look into your crystal ball, what's the future?
Well, the future is very bright. You know, the original streetcar build-out program was $1.2 billion worth of new additional service that's going to be put throughout the city of New Orleans. This is the second phase of that program that we rolled out several years ago. So as we move down Rampart this morning, we ultimately want to continue it down to Lower Ninth Ward. We want to go down to Elysian Fields. We want to come across on Claiborne Avenue. We want to come down Carrollton Avenue again. We want to connect down to newer development along the river. So we have a lot of plans on the drawing board where we will connect and create absolute wonderful access and connectivity throughout the city.
Wonderful. All right, well, we've stopped for a second. I think our driver still has to
There's
move.
something on the
Mr.
track.
Glover
There's a
has to
cow
move.
on the tracks. No, there's not a cow.
There's not
on
a
the
cow.
tracks.
There's just some
moving
construction
moving
cones.
some construction
Mr.
cones out of
Glover's
the way.
taking care of everything.
He is.
So let's talk a little bit more about the future there. We're not a city where everyone uses public transportation. Is that the vision, though, that more people eventually will say, I'm going to leave the car at home because there's enough ways for me to get around?
Well, Sheba, let me say this. There's not a city in the world where everybody uses public transportation. But we have a lot of residents in the city of New Orleans that use public transportation, and they depend on it. There's two types of riders. You have choice riders and dependent riders. We have just as many choice riders probably as any other city, and there's more gaining traction every day. Look, public transportation is cheap, it's efficient, and it's effective. It'll get you to where you need to be on time, and more importantly, you can enjoy the ride.
Now, I have the hat. I feel like I could drive.
You do have the hat.
I feel like I could drive.
No, Mike, you can't drive. Let me
feel like I could drive.
Regardless of the regalia you may have on this morning, safety is always our number one priority.
It's very official.
It's very official,
Okay.
but remember, from a safety perspective, you know, we take this very, very seriously. And look, probably every resident in the city of New Orleans would like to drive a streetcar. I know as a kid, you know, my grandparents used to take me on streetcars, and I wanted to drive the train as a kid.
So you're just going to shut down our dream. Well, that's fine, because Mr. Clarence Glover is the experienced driver this morning. He's actually been in movies. He's been doing this for 35 years. So, guys, when we come back, we are going to talk to him, and even though we can't do it, he's going to teach us how to do it. So we will be back with more. Mr. Clarence, you just keep on driving, all right?
10-4.
All right, guys, back to you.
And it's good to know they would not let those guys take the wheel of the streetcar.
Well, can't wait to see and hear Mr. Clarence's story.
But I'll tell you what, it looks beautiful on Rampart Street. It's just so good to see. I'd love to see those go all
and it's a
over
great
the
thing.
city.
We could just step outside and take a ride down to McDonald's after the show. And
Is that what you're going to do?
yeah, I
All
plan
right.
to do that next
All
week.
right.